Let's get educated. That's why we're here, to bring you the stories impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses. It's time for a little education.
Welcome one and welcome all. I am Katie Patrick, joined by David Fiorazzo.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Greetings. In the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, One Michigan University is set to host count 'em, 5 separate graduations in addition to the normal ceremony, which everybody participates in. And it's just to make students feel special about their race and sexual identity. As if being at college doesn't take long enough, now if you want, you're going to sit through how many graduation ceremonies?
You heard that right. What? 5 separate. You remember, they're always
separate but equal.
They're trying to divide people into groups.
Yes.
Pit people one against the other. It's a Marxist tactic, the original being the oppressed and the oppressors. But in this case, just separate them into identity groups based on race, sexual identity. They're celebrating the school's diverse identities and cultures. It's Grand Valley State University in Michigan, just a few miles west of Grand Rapids, now offering a graduation celebration for students who identify as Asian. So that's 1. Black, that's 2. Latino, AX, whatever that is, that's 3.
Latino, Latina, Latinx. Ah, yes.
Native American, they've got their own ceremony, and of course the lavender. I used to like lavender.
Not anymore.
Yeah, the LGBTQIA plus ceremony. There they are, and there's the dates for these: the Asian graduation, the Black graduation, the Latino, the lavender, and the native.
Sign up to go to them. What's so fun about this is that
fun?
Yes, I say it's fun because we have this story every single semester.
Do we? How long have they been doing this, though?
Too long.
The separate graduation ceremonies?
Too long. They've been having these lavender graduations and all of this other stuff. What's so fun about this specific instance is we have the lavender graduation. And where is the lavender graduation specifically being held on campus? Because that's what makes it fun.
Okay, it's in the Pierre Marquette room of the Kirchhoff Center. Now, the Pierre Marquette room appears to be named after Father Jacques Marquette, the 17th century French Jesuit missionary, credited with founding at least 2 Michigan cities, Sault Ste. Marie and St. Ignace, and spent much of his short life traveling around the Great Lakes region, evangelizing various Native American tribes to turn away from sin and toward the good news of the gospel. I like that guy.
So let's have the lavender graduation ceremony be in that room. That makes perfect sense. Also, where are we having the Latina Latinx ceremony? In the Louis Armstrong room, but the Black student celebration is not being held there. I feel like they forget where they should be putting where they should be having the celebration. But what's so fun here? It does say the lavender gradation. Whoops.
Did they?
Whoopsies.
Gradation.
We're gonna have a gradation. Well, that makes sense. But also, if you identify as multiple, because why wouldn't you? You got to check those boxes for intersectionality. You can participate in multiple ones because they're going to have them a little bit, different. So if you want to go on April 28th, for instance, from 11 to 1 to the Latino AX graduation in the Louis Armstrong Theater, then just book it quickly across campus to wherever the Fountain Street Church is for the Black graduation celebration, because that's just going to be from 1 to 3. I mean, if really you want to get your brunch and your lunch on at these graduation ceremonies, I'm sure there will be hors d'oeuvres.
Well,
why wouldn't you? You can just kind of go to all of them. Handshake, get a fake diploma, wear your old cap and gown.
Well, you're getting a little too, picky about where these are held because, Father Jacques Marquette, the missionary who was preaching the gospel, you couldn't really have the LGBTQIA in the Marquette room. Because, they'd be offended by being in there. But
that's where it is being held. That's what I'm saying.
No, not the lavender one.
Yes.
Wait a minute. The lavender? Oh, my goodness. Yes, you're right. So that's interesting. They're going to object. Watch, that's going to change. Wait a minute, who is there? They're going to say, who is this Marquette guy? Wait a minute, he preached the gospel? We are opposed to the gospel. Anyway, but the Louis Armstrong room, why would they put the Asian graduation? Do you guys know
these
who Louis?
People don't understand just how.
You know who Louis Armstrong? Wasn't he a jazz?
One of the best trumpet players ever.
Trumpet players, right? Louis Armstrong.
I can't do his voice. His
yeah,
deep voice.
that
what
deep,
a wonderful
gravelly voice.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I like what Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire noted. However, he said straight white people will enjoy no such identity-based special celebration.
And again, I say, where is my celebration? Why can't all the left-handers get together? You did it.
Left-handed graduation. That's
you
right.
did it. You survived 4 years of having to sit in desks that were not made for you. You did it.
Not white people, right people.
On those notebooks that are not made for you. You did it, I say. Left-handed people. Here's your diploma. And then they'll still hand it to you like right-handed. No!
Well, I feel a little just slight a diss because there's also no Italian graduation. And come on, I know there's Italians in Michigan.
You probably would have it be held at the local Mexican restaurant. That's what's going to happen. So have your own celebration at Domino's. Would that work for you, Pizza Hut?
No, that's not
Little
Italian.
Caesars? Oh, it's not?
No, and okay, I was going to say a very well-known restaurant that some of you probably like. I'm not going to say that. It's not Italian. But ragu, forget ragu. Yeah, that's funny. You got it.
I know.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. And ragu, it's like, what did they used to have in the can? Chef Boyardee in the can growing up.
Ew.
That's like ragu.
Although
to me.
that's name
Sorry
brand.
if I offended you, ragu.
If you would like to see David have to eat an entire menu challenge of Olive Garden, please
There's some
let
good...
us know by going to stayeducated.org. Leave your question comment about it. And we will make it happen.
They do have some good food there. Just don't eat the red sauce if you're Italian. I'm warning you.
Yes, the moral of the story is we would rather talk about Olive Garden than talk about these ceremonies, these graduation ceremonies that make no sense and are just silly.
Okay,
just have the graduation ceremony for all the students, which is, I don't know, I would call that diverse and inclusive and pretty equitable to have every student there. Apparently, they would not.
Yeah. Well, you know what college campuses, they're bordering on already the ridiculous. And so here we go. Expect more to come. But still to come, in a message quite shocking for our current climate, one university president says his school will never host a drag show on campus. However, many believe what he said next sends a mixed message. What's that about? That's coming up.
No drag. No drag.
What a drag.
No. Good. This is a good drag.
Oh, good.
Dragging the line, but not dragging the line. All right. We are going to have no drag, at least at one university. In a message to students, faculty, and staff, the West Texas A&M University president, Walter Wendler, said that drag performances denigrate women and declared that the school will never host a drag performance on campus. So what provoked this statement from the president? Well, in an Instagram post earlier in the month, the WTAMU Spectrum, and that's in quotes, Spectrum student organization, advertised a drag event, noting that Spectrum is working with First Gen and other orgs on campus to produce a fool's drag race coming soon. And so then Wendler was like, nope. However, here's where we get some mixed messaging coming from the president.
All right.
He condemned the drag in his message, and we can read about that. But he also suggested that people send money to the Trevor Project, which is an organization that the drag show had been slated to benefit. So some people are like, well, you're telling people, hey, we're not going to have a drag show, but then you're saying you should donate to this project. My perspective on interpreting what he's saying is that he's trying to support the sinner, not the sin. He's trying to support the people who are affected, who are part of LGBT, to try and help what they need so it's not suicide. Like, instead of taking that step to suicide, that they get the help they need so they don't do that. that's I think the generous outlook on it. The opposite would be like, why don't you just have the Drake Show then if you're still going to support the Trevor Project or encourage people to?
So one article says this one, the Trevor Project is a nonprofit focusing on suicide prevention, a noble cause, in the LGBTQ community. So that's, yeah, obviously any kind of suicide prevention is a good cause. But when you kind of single it out like that and just say, okay, let's just really try to help this group, I mean, that's...
Yeah, so what he's trying, I think what he's trying to do is saying, like, help the sinner, not the sin. Like, he's trying to make it so we're not going to actually have a Drake Show on campus, but we are going to help people so that they don't take that step for suicide. Now, regarding the actual, like, having Drake Show on campus, he wrote, as a performance exaggerating aspects of womanhood, sexuality, femininity, gender, Drake shows stereotype women in cartoon-like extremes for the amusement of others and discriminate against womanhood. Any event which diminishes an individual or group through such representation is wrong. Yes, fact check true. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for stating such. He went on. Drake shows are derisive, divisive, and demoralizing misogyny, no matter the stated intent. Such conduct runs counter to the purpose of the university. A person or group should not attempt to elevate itself or a cause by mocking another person or group. As a university president, I would not support blackface performances on our campus, even if told the performance is a form of free speech or intended as humor. Justin Trudeau will not be invited, sadly, to that university.
Actually, yeah.
It is wrong. I do not support any show, performance, or artistic expression which denigrates others, in this case, women, for any reason, he said.
Can we talk about that? I like that he said that it does denigrate women, but so how on earth, with half the population being female, has this become so accepted and celebrated? It denigrates women. I mean, it's sexualizing men dressed up in a perverse way sometimes, and in other cases, a demonic way with horns and weird eye makeup and all this stuff.
Nope, it's true. And he even goes on and says that. He says, a harmless Drake show, not possible. I will not appear to condone the diminishment of any group at the expense of impertinent gestures toward another group for any reason, even when the law of the land appears to require it. So this is
good
what
for him.
It's pure logical sense of what he's saying here, and yet most people, all they see is, how dare you, Greta Thunberg, go and offend these men who like to caricature, stereotype, I would guess, cultural appropriate my gender. But that's okay in the eyes of these people. Wendler is coming out and being like, it's not okay, at least on our campus, though, so move on. Of course, there was a petition that was launched on change.org, as there always is,
yep.
And you find people not at all from the university, but people around the world who are like, yeah, I support it, so it makes it look like, oh, he's in the wrong because look at all the support they've gotten from the internet people.
So, Katie, how would you respond to Spectrum pushing back and saying that drag is a celebration of femininity? So, a celebration of queerness, gender acceptance, a celebration of love, I don't know, a drag queen, a guy, anyway. So, but femininity, that's what saying. Drag is a celebration of the female.
This is such a lie. It's like Dylan Mulvaney saying he celebrates femininity. It's a farce. These people have mental illness, and they are using women and who women truly are, and they're just making all the stereotype caricatures out of them.
Yep.
And it's, anyway, the best part of this whole one, though, for me, is that the group, Spectrum, requested that Wendler reinstate the Drake performance, apologize, and then step down from his role as university president. Yeah, he should do all of that. I bet he will cow to their demands.
And that's another reminder that they don't just disagree with you. You cannot just agree to disagree and move on with your life. And as they say, live and let live. They want your head. They want your job. We disagree with you. You're being hateful and intolerant. You shouldn't even work there. You shouldn't be able to support your family. You shouldn't have a job. This is amazing. This is what the left does.
Yepper deppers. That they do. And now, speaking of being female, mounting studies show more than half of teen girls are depressed, while roughly the same amount of young white women have been diagnosed with mental illness.
What?
So, here's the question. What's driving this? We're going to talk about it next.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on pristine quality bedding, towels, slippers, signature pillows, and much more when you use the code EDUCATED. That's EDUCATED. Educated. Support this show and a great American company.
Well, shocking, I say, but not at all surprised. We have a new poll that was conducted by Pew Research, and it found that 56% of liberal white women, all right, liberal white women, have been diagnosed by a doctor. So doctor specifically is giving this diagnosis. They've been diagnosed with a mental health condition, compared to just 27% of their conservative counterparts. Now, I look at that statistic, they're 27% and 56%, and I say, what is happening just in general to our young women, white women, I guess, young white women? What is going on? Oh, I wonder if they have mental illness thanks to all the men who are invading their space. But anyway.
That's part of it.
But 56% of liberal white women, in case you can't do math, that's over half, everyone. If you take a look overall at the statistics, the question that was asked of them was, has a doctor or other healthcare provider ever told you that you have a mental health condition? So let's also think about how it's a doctor, not, do you identify as having a mental health? No, at least a doctor, someone who should have a doctor degree, should be an expert in the field, has asked you this question or told you that you do. And this is the number of yes, white liberal versus white conservative. We have males and females. As you can see, overall, statistically, the males are way less overall. And the other trend that you easily notice is that the older you get, the less mental illness that you have. David,
Interesting. So you're saying some people might grow out of it.
Or just haven't had to deal with all the social media and all the nonsense in the education system.
Well, I think
as the rest of
it's
us.
interesting that if you compare white liberal to white conservative, 56.3 for the liberals to 27 with white conservatives. I just think that's interesting there, that observation. Why would they be more, I don't know, hopeless, depressed?
I don't know,
suicidal?
David. It's almost like they don't have anything better in life, something to aspire to.
They don't know God.
Ooh, I mean, you said it, not me.
Part of it.
What's interesting, too, is when you have this study, let's compare it to another study that was just released, too, by the CDC. There was a recent CDC study, which we talked about, that found 57% of U.S. teen girls felt persistently sad and hopeless in 2021, and 30% of teen girls seriously considered attempting suicide. Let's take a look at some news on that.
The CDC is out with a disturbing new report today on teenage mental health that finds teen girls are experiencing record high levels of violence, sadness, and suicide risk.
57% of U.S. teen girls say they felt persistently sad or hopeless in 2021. That is double the number for boys. It's also a nearly 60% increase and the highest level reported for girls over the past decade.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers. According to this new CDC report, 30% of teen girls said that they had seriously considered suicide, dying by suicide. That's up by nearly 60% over the past decade. 18% said that they had experienced some kind of sexual violence. That's up by 20% since 2017. And shockingly, 14% of our young women said that they had been raped. That's more than 1 in 10 young women that we know. Now, the CDC really is just suggesting that schools increase programs like sex ed to try to help address some of these issues. And advice for parents, talk to your kids, normalize conversations about mental health early and often.
Wait,
that's a solution, really?
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
The solution, David. I mean, it's clearly MSNBC.
Well,
they know all things.
Yeah.
The solution to all this: more sexualization in schools.
That's right.
That would solve it.
Yeah, have the government.
That's what solve it.
Yeah, have the government and leftist teachers teach them more on sexualization. This is, you know what though? Do you hear this evaluated or analyzed enough out there in an honest way. When you've got record numbers of teen girls, young girls, feeling hopeless and or depressed to the point that they don't want to live anymore. You know, what would my great-grandparents say?
You
know, times have changed, but what else has changed? What else are they being told to believe? Go ahead, Katie.
How about we do another study? We don't take a poll. We do an actual little study where we take the phones away from these girls.
Oh, that too.
For 1 month. So they can't be on TikTok.
Comparing
and on
themselves
all
to other
social
girls.
media Instagrams, comparing themselves and being told comments by the internet folk of, you look so great. Oh, you don't look so good. Oh, you should just kill yourself. Because those are the comments that are getting put out there. The cyberbullying and the comparison is off the charts. Now, back in my day, yes, I would get Teen Magazine and look through it and be like, oh, wow, that girl's wearing that. And luckily, I didn't care about what other girls were wearing. And I went for comfort, always and forever. But I was of only the first wave feminism, where I believe, yes, women have the right to vote. After that, treat me the same as anybody else. But the feminist movement has absolutely destroyed all females. Because it's raise your hand if you have ever worked in a workplace with females and how the cattiness and the bullying and the comparison and everything else that goes on. Now apply that to your own daughters and what's happening in schools and what that makes them feel. And now it's not just in the schools itself. Again, the cyberbullying, the creepy internet people coming in and making the comments. And you wonder why 3 in 10 teen girls have considered, you know what, it's not worth it. I'll just end it.
But think of the, what's that, the Women's March, or the code, the pink, the Women's, the Women's March. Think about this ideology that's being pushed on all women. Now, I want to quote Lily Hayes, who writes over at Louder with Crowder, and she said, surveys show the happiest women are married, religious conservatives. As a woman myself, I can testify that it's not natural for women to follow the femi-Nazi path. What are you laughing at?
It's me. I like what she's saying.
You like that?
Yeah.
It goes against every inherent female instinct, and it makes you miserable. The feminazi path, she says.
That's what they are. Anyway, I like what she has to say. That's all I'm saying. All right. Well.
Because you're married, religious, and conservative. You fit in the happy group.
I'm so happy.
Katie's in the happy group.
You know what I am happy about? We're about to get to the Babylon Bee headlines. We're going to discuss that coming up next.
If you have a smartphone, tablet, Roku, or Apple TV, consider downloading the Freedom Project Media app. It's 100% free and includes all of our weekly shows, plus lecture series, archive programs, and award-winning animated videos for families like the Presidential Minute, Battles of America, and Heroes of the West. Don't rely on the social media giants to keep you informed. Simply download the Freedom Project Media app from your app store and allow notifications. And we'll let you know when a new video is ready.
All right. Before we wrap, you guys don't even know what goes on during the breaks, but that's why we don't have webcams in here and we're just filming this. Let's take a look at everyone's favorite satire site, the Babylon Bee.
Here are this week's top 5 Babylon Bee headlines.
All right, we picked our favorite headlines and Katie has not heard them or seen them, and we will now decide which one should be named Queen of the Hive. We start with striking Los Angeles teachers threaten to return to classrooms if demands not met. Next, Trump to be indicted for removing mattress tag in 1997. Uh-oh. Next, law enforcement desperately searching for handcuffs big enough to fit Trump's very massive, large hands. Next, 4D chess. Trump reveals he preemptively pardoned himself before leaving office. And finally, conservatives can't define woke, shouts leftist who can't define man or woman.
It's true.
Katie?
They're solid.
I think there are two of them that
I think
like.
the best to sum up is Trump and his hands. He's got the massive, large hands. They're huge. They're the best. They're everything, those hands. And I don't think he's going to do a perp walk if he does get arrested, but I think some people would like to see, do they have handcuffs big enough for those massively huge hands?
I'm surprised by that
Really?
response. Yeah, I like the one striking Los Angeles
Oh, yeah, well,
teachers threaten to return to classroom if demands not met. Because my point about that teacher's strike, or not the teacher's strike, or the employees of the public school unions, they're threatening to come back to the classroom. I like that idea because I think the kids are better off without being in the classrooms. My 2 cents.
Well, and that's the sad truth is like Babylon B knows like, hey, they would actually be better if the kids didn't have to go into the classroom, but
They get
there
it.
we are.
They get it over
They
at the
get
B,
it.
don't they? All right, that's going to wrap up our top headlines of the week. More satire next time.
Okay, well, if you're just sitting there and you're like, you know what? I'm a
What?
huge fan of this show.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just like a big fan.
Wow.
So when you decide that and you know it and you understand it, then you please like, comment, and share this video if you're on the social medias right now. Now for David and myself, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting this show. Until next time, stay educated.